Look at the world around you. Do you see the cracks? The systems that once seemed invincible are shivering. The old idols of fame, money, and power built on deception are crumbling before your very eyes. This is not a coincidence. This is a systemic reset. God is telling you tonight, the stage is being cleared of the pretenders so that the rightful heirs can finally stand forth. Welcome to the collapse of the false idols. For decades, you were told that you had to bow to their rules. You were told that to be successful, you had to sacrifice your soul. But as a chosen one, you couldn't do it. You couldn't blend in. You felt like an alien in a world that prioritized the fake over the real. And tonight, you are finding out why you were preserved for the moment when the fake would finally fail. The darkness is not winning. It is imploding. And your light is the only thing that will remain standing. Think about the structure of a forest. For a new, mighty oak to grow, the old, decaying undergrowth must be cleared. Sometimes, the forest requires a fire to crack open the seeds that have been waiting for years to sprout. You are that seed. The fire in the world right now, the chaos, the economic shifts, the social unrest is not your enemy. It is the heat of activation. God is allowing the structures you once relied on to vanish so that you will finally realize that your true security was never in a bank, a government, or a social circle. Your security is in the kingdom within you. The collapse of the false idols is your signal to stop looking out there for answers and start looking up here. You are being promoted from a subscriber to the world system to an admin of the heavens system. The rank you held in the old world doesn't matter anymore. What matters is the anointing you carry into the new one. Why did they reject you? Why did they mock your intuition? Because your very presence was a threat to their false reality. A chosen one acts as a frequency jammer to the lies of the enemy. When you walk into a room, the masks start to slip. When you speak, the hidden agendas start to tremble. They didn't hate you. They hated the mirror of truth that you represent. But notice what is happening now. Those who mocked you are now looking for answers. Those who bypassed you are now feeling the emptiness of their own success. The idols they worship, the validation of the crowd, the accumulation of shadow wealth are showing their true faces. They are hollow. They are temporary. But the fire inside you, it is eternal. God is saying, I kept you in the background so that the fire wouldn't be contaminated by their vanity. Now, the background is the only safe place left, and the front stage is about to push. This is the first phase of the Empire of Light. Before you can build your empire, you must witness the fall of the ego's empire. You must watch without fear as the things that used to intimidate you lose their power. The giants in your life are not getting bigger. You are just finally seeing them for the grasshoppers they truly are. The fear you used to feel is being replaced by a divine indifference. You are no longer moved by the news. You are no longer shaken by the threats of the shadow. You are starting to realize that you are in this world, but not of it. This realization is the foundational stone of your new life. God is removing the training wheels of earthly support because He is preparing you for supernatural flight. I need you to understand the logic of the reset. The reason you've been feeling out of sync with the world isn't because you are failing. It's because the world is failing. And your spirit is already living in the future victory. You are a time traveler from the kingdom of God, sent back to this moment to lead the way out of the wreckage. Stop trying to save the old system. Stop trying to fix the false idols. Let them crumble. Your mission is to build the new ark. Your mission is to gather the remnant. The other chosen ones who are still confused in the smoke, and show them the way to the light. The collapse is your crowning ceremony. Tonight, as we begin this 90-minute journey into your destiny, I want you to make a decision. Are you going to keep mourning the Egypt you left behind? Or are you going to embrace the empire God is building through you? The false idols are gone. The stage is yours, and the Father is handing you the pen to write the first chapter of your new era. But to write a new story, you must understand the contract you signed before you were even born. You need to know the rules of engagement. In the next part, we are going to dive into decoding the soul contract. I am going to show you the secret agreements you made with heaven and why your life had to be exactly this difficult to prepare you for this level of glory. Your pain was pre-planned for your promotion. Are you ready to see the fine print? You've asked yourself 1,000 times, why was I born into this family? Why did I have to endure that specific trauma? Why did I have to walk through that valley of betrayal? Tonight, the great librarian of heaven is opening your file. The truth is, you didn't just show up here by accident. You weren't dropped into this chaos without a plan. Before you ever took your first breath, you stood in the council of light and signed a soul contract. Welcome to the decoding of your divine assignment. As a chosen one, your contract was not a standard agreement. It was a high-risk, high-reward mission. You agreed to take on the hardest difficulty level because you knew that the level of your struggle would determine the level of your spiritual authority. God is telling you tonight, you didn't lose control. You are simply following the script you helped write before the foundations of the world. Think of your life as a special ops mission. If you were going to lead a nation out of poverty, you had to first experience the crushing weight of lack. If you were going to heal the broken-hearted, you had to have your own heart shattered into 1,000,000 pieces. This is the empathy clause in your contract. You cannot deliver a people you have not lived among. The reason you were born into that toxic family was not because God was punishing you, but because you were the special envoy sent to break 1,000-year-old generational curse. You were the only one strong enough to hold the light in that level of darkness. Your soul contract included a isolation protocol, a period where everyone would leave you so that you could find the only source that can never be taken away. The loneliness wasn't a flaw in the system, it was a security feature. Look at the fine print of your past betrayals in your contract. There was a Judas provision. You needed someone to kiss you on the cheek while holding a knife behind their back, not to destroy you, but to push you toward your Gethsemane. Without the betrayal, you would have stayed comfortable in a version of yourself that was too small for your destiny. The people who hurt you were actually unwitting actors hired by your own destiny to play a role in your awakening. They had to play the villain so that you could find the hero within. When you realize this, the victim mentality dies instantly. You stop asking, "Why did they do this to me?" and start asking, "What did this teach me for my mission?" You are not a victim of your history. You are the master of your mystery. There is also a resource delay clause in your contract. Have you noticed that you often get what you need at the very last second? This was designed to destroy your reliance on earthly predictability. God wanted to train your nervous system to be calm in the face of zero. He wanted you to reach a place where your peace is not tied to your bank account, but to your spiritual rank. Every time you faced a dead end, it was a test of your executive function in the spirit. Can you still lead when you can't see the path? Can you still praise when the room is empty? By passing these tests, you have earned equity in the kingdom of light. You are no longer a tenant in this world. You are becoming a shareholder of heaven. Absurd. Why is it so important to decode this contract now? Because you are entering the activation window. Most people spend their whole lives trying to escape their contract. They try to be normal. They try to fit in. They try to avoid the pain. But the chosen one leans into the fire. You are beginning to realize that every no you received from the world was a yes from your destiny. Every door that slammed in your face was a divine redirection. You are finally starting to see the golden thread of grace weaving through the wreckage of your past. The contract says that once you wake up to who you truly are, the delay phase ends and the momentum phase begins. You have fulfilled the trial period of your soul. Now, you are being granted the keys to the kingdom. But there is a warning in the contract: to whom much is given, much is required. Your promotion to Master Creator means you can no longer afford the luxury of a small mind. You cannot carry a kingdom mantle while entertaining poverty thoughts. You must align your words, your habits, and your environment with the rank you now hold. The contract requires you to become unoffendable. It requires you to be a prophet of the possible. The era of complaining is over. The era of decreeing is here. You are the lead executive of your own reality, and the Father is your chairman of the board. The resources are ready. The strategy is set. Tonight, the Father is asking you to initial the final page of your contract. It's a page called Total Surrender to the Light. It means you stop trying to figure it out with your human logic and start navigating with your spiritual sight. The contract guarantees your victory, but it doesn't guarantee your comfort. In fact, the greater the mission, the greater the friction you will encounter. But remember, friction is what creates the heat for the fire. You are ready. The fine print has been revealed. Now, it's time to move from the contract to the camouflage. In the next part, we are going to dive into the art of hiding in plain sight. I will show you how to protect your energy while working in the snake pits of the world, and how to be invisible to the enemy even when you are standing right in front of him. Are you ready to become a spiritual ghost in the Matrix? You are a lion living in a world of hyenas, and for a long time, you made the mistake of showing your teeth too early. You walked into toxic workplaces, family gatherings, and social circles with your heart on your sleeve and your light shining at full brightness. And what happened? You were attacked. You were gossiped about. You were drained until you had nothing left for your own mission. Tonight, the great commander of heaven is giving you a new set of orders. Master the art of hiding in plain sight. Welcome to your spiritual camouflage. Being a chosen one does not mean you have to be a spiritual billboard 24/7. It means knowing how to be wise as serpents and innocent as doves. God is telling you tonight, stop giving kingdom secrets to matrix inhabitants. Your mystery is your mastery. The world is currently a low-frequency trap. Most people you encounter are functioning on a level of survival, jealousy, and ego. When they see someone like you, someone with a high-value soul, their subconscious instinct is to de-rank you. They want to pull you down to their level so they can feel comfortable again. This is why you feel so exhausted after a simple conversation at the office or a dinner with friends. You are suffering from frequency leakage. But tonight, we are installing a divine firewall. You are learning how to be physically present but spiritually absent. You will walk through the snake pits of this world. You will do your job. You will smile at your neighbors, but you will keep your true self locked in the secret place where the enemy has no access. The art of hiding involves the cloaking device of silence. Stop telling people your plans. Stop explaining your why to people who don't even have a how. Every time you share a divine vision with a low-frequency person, you are throwing pearls before swine. They don't have the spiritual hardware to process your kingdom software. All they can do is corrupt the file with their doubt. God is saying, work in the shadows until the manifestation is undeniable. Let your results do the talking. In the Matrix, you should be a ghost. People should know your name, but they should never know your source. They should see your success, but they should never see your strategy. This is how you protect the seed of greatness while it's still germinating. How do you protect yourself from energy vampires in real time? You use the mirror protocol. When a toxic person tries to bait you into an argument or suck you into their drama, do not engage. Do not defend yourself. When you defend yourself, you are granting them legal entry into your emotional space. Instead, become a mirror. Reflect their energy back to them with a calm, neutral, or a, that's interesting. By refusing to provide a vibrational match for their chaos, their energy has nowhere to land. It bounces off your frequency shield and returns to the sender. This is the master of non-reaction. The enemy can only defeat you if he can get you to lower your guard by getting you angry or afraid. If you stay in the neutral zone, you are invisible to his radars. I need you to realize that your secret life with God is your real life. Everything else, the job, the social media, the daily grind is just a front operation. You are an undercover operative for the kingdom of light. When you are at your 9 to 5, you aren't just working for a paycheck. You are maintaining a position. You are observing the territory, praying in secret for the environment, and waiting for the divine signal to move. But on the outside, you look normal. You look ordinary. This is the humility of power. True kings don't need to wear their crowns in the marketplace. They wear them in the throne room of their own hearts. The more you hide your glory, the more God can trust you with the heavy weight of it. Why is this hiding phase so important, right, Geo? Because the shadow war is intensifying. The enemy is looking for the heads of the movement. He is looking for the ones who carry the key codes for the next era. If you are too loud, too flashy, and too out there with your spiritual business, you make yourself a target before you are fully fortified. God is telling you, stay in the cocoon a little longer. Master the art of social stealth. Learn how to be the most powerful person in the room while being the one that no one notices. This is the hidden rank. It is the rank of the intercessor. It is the rank of the strategist. While they are fighting for attention, you are fighting for authority. Tonight, the Father is handing you a camo cloak of peace. From this moment on, you will walk through the world with a new level of discretion. You will find that you have a filter on your mouth and a shield over your heart. You will no longer feel the need to prove yourself to people who are dead in the spirit. You will no longer feel the guilt of being distant or private. Your privacy is your power. Your distance is your discernment. The world may call you cold or arrogant, but heaven calls you consecrated. You are being set apart for a specific strike that is coming soon. But as you master the art of hiding in the physical world, you are becoming a giant in the spiritual world. And as you grow, you will find that your old pains and traumas are starting to heat up. They are no longer just scars. They are becoming fuel. In the next part, we are going to dive into the alchemy of pain. I am going to show you how to take the most lead-heavy memories of your life and turn them into the pure gold of financial and spiritual abundance. You've been hiding your pain long enough. It's time to transmute it into your empire. Are you ready to turn your history into your gold mine? The world taught you that your pain was a liability. They told you that your trauma made you damaged goods, that your past failures were a permanent stain on your resume, and that your suffering was something you should hide in the dark basement of your soul. But tonight, the master alchemist of heaven is walking into your basement with a torch of fire, and he is telling you that pain isn't trash. It is the raw material for your empire. Welcome to the alchemy of pain. In the physical world, alchemy is the mythical art of turning lead into gold. In the spiritual world, it is the actual practice of turning trauma into treasure. God is telling you tonight, I didn't waste a single tear. I've been stockpiling your suffering because it is the only currency strong enough to buy the level of abundance I have planned for you. Think about the world's most valuable commodities. Diamonds are created through extreme pressure. Gold is refined in intense heat. Oil is formed through millions of years of crushing weight. Why would you think your high-value destiny would be any different? The crushing you felt in your childhood, the heat of the betrayals you endured, and the pressure of the poverty you lived through, that was the manufacturing process. You aren't broken. You are processed. An alchemist knows that the most lead-heavy experiences carry the most potential for gold. The reason you have survived things that would have killed others is because you possess a supernatural density. And tonight, we are going to start transmuting that density into your financial and spiritual fortune. How do you turn pain into money and influence? You start by realizing that your experience is your expertise. Every chosen one carries a specific solution inside their scars. If you survived a narcissistic relationship, you carry the code for emotional sovereignty. If you survived being broke, you carry the code for supernatural resourcefulness. The world is full of people who are currently drowning in the very waters you have already learned to swim in. Your alchemy begins when you stop surviving your past and start authoring your future. When you speak from your scars, you don't just give advice, you release authority. And in the new economy of the spirit, authority is the highest valued currency. People don't pay for information anymore. They pay for transformation. They pay to hear the voice of someone who has been to hell and came back with the keys. The enemy wants you to stay in a poverty mindset by keeping you focused on the cost of your pain. He wants you to count what you lost the years, the money, the youth, the opportunities. But God is telling you to look at the equity. You have built up spiritual equity through your endurance. The Bible says in the book of Joel, chapter 2, verse 25, I will restore to you the years that the swarming locust has eaten. This is a divine rebate. God doesn't just give back what was taken, He pays interest. The alchemy of pain means that the locust years are being converted into multiplier years. Your breakthrough will be faster, your harvest will be larger, and your reach will be wider because of the depth of your previous lack. The 0 point we talked about earlier was the bottom of the alchemical crucible. Now, the fire is being turned up, and the lead is starting to melt into gold. You must understand the frequency of abundance. Money is just energy. It is a neutral tool that responds to the frequency of the person holding it. If you hold money with the frequency of fear from your old trauma, it will disappear. But if you hold it with the frequency of dominion from your alchemical transformation, it will multiply. Chosen one, your pain has made you fearless. And a fearless person is the most dangerous person in the marketplace. You are no longer afraid of losing it all because you've already been there and found God in the wreckage. This risk tolerance is your unfair advantage. While others are playing it safe in the matrix, you are making kingdom moves. You are investing in yourself, building your ark, and speaking your empire into existence with a boldness that terrifies the system. The alchemy of pain also heals your relationship with power. Many chosen ones were taught that being spiritual means being poor. That is a slave frequency designed to keep the light bearers from having the resources to change the world. But look at the tabernacle of God. It was covered in gold, silver, and precious stones. God loves beauty. He loves excellence. He loves overflow. He wants His chosen operatives to be the most resourced people on the planet. Not for vanity, but for victory. Your gold is the fuel for your ministry of light. When you are wealthy, you can feed the hungry, you can house the orphan, and you can buy back the time you need to fulfill your highest calling. Your transmuted pain is the bridge to the world's greatest gain. So, tonight, I want you to visualize the most painful memory you have. See it in your mind. Feel the lead weight of it. Now, see the fire of the Holy Spirit touching that memory. Watch as the darkness of that moment begins to glow with a brilliant, golden light. That pain is being monetized in the spirit. It is being converted into divine ideas, strategic connections, and supernatural favor. You are no longer a victim of circumstance. You are a manufacturer of miracles. The lead has melted. The gold is forming. Your empire is no longer a dream. It is an alchemical inevitability. But to manage this new empire of gold, you cannot rely on your human intellect alone. The gold of the kingdom requires the Wi-Fi of the spirit. You need to stay online with the source. 24/7. In the next part, we are going to dive into connecting with the Heavenly Council. I am going to show you how to receive real-time intelligence from the throne room and how to bypass the middlemen of religion to talk directly to the CEO of the universe. The gold is coming. Now you need the orders. Are you ready to tune into the highest frequency religion taught you to reach for a God who was billions of miles away, hiding behind clouds and demanding endless rituals just to be heard? They gave you a dial-up connection and told you to wait for an answer that might never come. But tonight, the great architect is tearing up the middleman's contract. He is telling you you are a high-ranking operative. You don't need a priest, a guru, or a prophet to speak for you. You have a direct uplink to the throne room. Welcome to the Heavenly Council. In the kingdom, you don't pray like a victim begging for crumbs. You tune in like a general receiving real-time intelligence. God is saying tonight, stop asking me to be with you. I am already there. Start asking me for the codes to the doors you're standing in front of. Think about the way a satellite works. It sits in a high-altitude orbit, seeing everything from a perspective that is impossible on the ground. It sees the traffic jams before they happen. It sees the enemy's movement in the dark. It sees the gold mine hidden under the mountain. As a chosen one, you have been granted access to this divine satellite. When you enter your secret place, you aren't just meditating, you are performing a data sync. You are aligning your limited earthly perspective with the unlimited, eternal perspective of the Heavenly Council. The Council is made up of the Father, the Word, and the Spirit, surrounded by the cloud of witnesses who have already finished their race. And tonight, they are adding a seat for you. They are waiting to give you the insider information for your business, your family, and your destiny. How do you log in to the council? It doesn't happen through screaming or pleading. It happens through stillness and recognition. The enemy wants your mind to be noisy. He wants you distracted by the notifications of the world so that your internal Wi-Fi is too cluttered to receive the signal. But when you master the art of silence, as we discussed in Chapter 3, you create a clear frequency. Suddenly, thoughts will come to you that aren't yours. They are downloads. You'll get an idea for a project that solves a problem no one else has seen. You'll feel a nudge to avoid a certain person just before their true nature is revealed. You'll get a strategy for your finances that defies the current economy. This is not luck. This is intelligence briefing. The Heavenly Council is providing you with the competitive advantage of the Spirit. The Council operates on the protocol of direct access. Jesus said, "I no longer call you servants. I call you friends." A servant is told what to do without knowing why. A friend is brought into the war room and shown the map. Stop asking God for permission to be great. He already gave you the permission when he called you chosen. Start asking for the specifications. Father, show me the blueprint for this empire. Show me the people I can trust. Reveal the hidden traps in this contract. When you speak to the council, speak with the boldness of an heir. You are not an intruder in the throne room. You are the purpose of the throne room. Everything in heaven is currently being mobilized to ensure your earthly mission succeeds, because your success is heaven's proof of concept on earth. I need you to understand the real-time nature of this connection. The council doesn't live in the past, and they aren't worried about the future. They live in the eternal now. This means your guidance is never late. If a door closed, the council saw the cliff on the other side. If a person left, the council saw the poison in their heart. Your job is to trust the satellite signal more than your own ground vision. When the council says, move, move instantly. When they say wait, sit still, even if the world is screaming at you to hurry. Your delayed response to the world is actually your synchronized response to the kingdom. By staying connected to the council, you become undeceivable. The Matrix cannot trick a person who is receiving their orders from the source code. Why is this direct uplink so dangerous to the enemy? Because a chosen one with council access is unpredictable. The enemy studies your patterns. He studies your trauma. He studies your habits. But he cannot study the spirit. When you are being led by the council, you will make moves that make no human sense. You will quit a good job to start a crazy dream. You will forgive someone who doesn't deserve it. You will invest in a dry season. Because the enemy can't see the satellite feed. He can't predict your next strike. You are becoming a spiritual stealth bomber. You are flying under the radar of the world's expectations and landing direct hits on the strongholds of darkness. Tonight, the Heavenly Council is issuing you a new frequency key. From this moment on, you will find that religion no longer satisfies you. You will find that surface-level talk about God feels like a distraction. You want the deep. You want the direct. You are starting to hear the heartbeat of the Creator in the middle of the night. You are starting to see the patterns in the chaos. The connection is live. The signal is strong. The council is in session. And the first item on tonight's agenda is your freedom. Before you can lead others, you must be unbound from the chains you didn't even know you were carrying. The council is looking at your family tree, and they see the ghost chains that have been dragging behind you for miles. In the next part, we are going to dive into breaking the genetic handcuffs. I am going to show you how to use your council authority to legally terminate the curses of your ancestors and release 7 generations of blessings into your present empire. The uplink is established. Now it's time to clear the bloodline. Are you ready to be the one who ends the cycle? Have you ever felt like you were running a race? With your feet tied together, you have the vision, you have the work ethic, and you have the hidden code. Yet you keep hitting the same invisible walls that your father hit, and his father before him. You see the same patterns of sudden loss, the same cycles of addiction, the same spirit of scarcity that seems to haunt your family tree like a dark fog. Tonight, the Chief Justice of the Heavenly Court is handing you a gavel, and he is telling you the statute of limitations on your family's pain has expired. Welcome to the breaking of the genetic handcuffs. As a chosen one, you are not just an individual. You are a bloodline interceptor. You were sent into your specific family tree as a divine virus, designed to corrupt the system of bondage and install a legacy of light. God is telling you tonight, the buck stops with you, the curse dies with you, the empire begins with you. Scientists call it epigenetics, the study of how trauma can be passed down through DNA, but heaven calls it generational liability. Your ancestors may have signed contracts with darkness through their actions, their compromises, and their fears. Those contracts created ghost chains that have been trying to claim ownership over your success. This is why you feel a resistance every time you get close to a massive financial breakthrough. This is why you feel an unexplained sadness that doesn't belong to your current life. You are sensing the genetic encryption of the past. But tonight, using your council authority, from Chapter 5, we are performing a direct bloodline clearing. You are not asking the curse to leave, you are evicting it based on the new covenant of grace. Think of yourself as a spiritual lawyer standing in the courtroom of heaven. The enemy is the accuser who points at your family's history and says, they don't deserve the empire. Look at the divorce. Look at the bankruptcy. Look at the hidden sins. But you stand up and present the evidence of the sacrifice. You declare that the debt of the bloodline has been paid in full by the blood of the Lamb. You issue a cease and desist order against every familiar spirit that has been monitoring your family for generations. As a chosen one, you have the legal power of attorney to sign a release of liability for your entire lineage. When you break the chain on your own wrists, the vibration is so powerful that it shatters the chains on the ancestors who came before you and the descendants who will come after you. You are the pivot point of history. Breaking genetic handcuffs requires you to stop respecting the limitations of your parents. For many, loyalty to the family feels like you have to suffer because they suffered. You feel guilty for wanting more than they had. That is a poverty pact made in the dark. God is telling you the greatest way to honor your ancestors is to become the one they couldn't be. You are the answer to the prayers they whispered while they were in their own chains. Your wealth is their vindication. Your peace is their rest. Your empire is their victory. Tonight, you are officially unlinking your identity from the family failure and relinking it to the heavenly heritage. You are moving from bloodline debt to divine inheritance. Why is this clearing happening now? Because you cannot carry the heavy glory of the next era if you are still tethered to the heavy trauma of the last era. The Empire of Light requires a clean foundation. God is performing a genetic reboot on your nervous system. The anxiety you inherited is being replaced by shalom. The lack you inherited is being replaced by overflow. The fear of visibility is being replaced by bold dominion. You will find that after tonight, your capacity to receive will double. The glass ceiling that kept your family in survival mode has been shattered by the sound of your council access. The sky is no longer the limit. It is your starting line. I need you to realize the global impact of your personal freedom. When one chosen one breaks a generational curse, it creates a frequency ripple that weakens the grid of darkness over their entire region. You are a strategic stronghold of light. The enemy fought your family so hard because he knew that if one of you ever woke up and realized your legal rights, the lease of darkness over your city would be canceled. Tonight, the lease is up. The genetic handcuffs are on the floor. You are walking out of the prison of your past and into the palace of your future. Your DNA is no longer a record of pain. It is a blueprint for power. But now that you are free, you must learn how to stay free. A king who has just been liberated from a dungeon must learn to walk with the stride of a sovereign. You cannot use slave language in a royal court. In the next part, we are going to dive into the frequency of dominion. I am going to show you why chosen ones don't petition the world, they issue orders. I will show you how to tune your voice to the frequency that reality obeys. The chains are gone. Now it's time to rule. Are you ready to take the throne? The chains are on the floor. The bloodline is clear, and the uplink is live. But there is one final thing you must master before you can govern your empire. You must change the frequency of your sound. For too long, you have approached life as a petitioner. You have approached the doors of opportunity with a "please let me in" energy. You have prayed like a servant, begging a distant master for a favor. But tonight, the King of Kings is handing you the scepter of command, and he is saying, "Stop asking for what I have already given you. Start decreeing it into existence." Welcome to the frequency of dominion. In the kingdom of God, reality does not respond to need. It responds to authority. God is telling you tonight, I created the world with a word, and I have placed that same creative DNA in your mouth. You are not a victim of your reality. You are the broadcaster of it. Think about the way a radio works. If you want to hear a specific station, you don't beg the radio to play the music. You don't hope the signal will find you. You simply tune the dial to the exact frequency. Most chosen ones are frustrated because they are vibrating at the frequency of lack while hoping for the music of abundance. It is a vibrational mismatch. Dominion begins when you realize that your voice is a reality resonator. When you speak from your council rank, your words carry a spiritual mass that the physical world is legally obligated to obey. The molecules of your bank account, the cells of your body, and the will of the people around you are all submissive to the highest frequency in the room. Tonight, you are moving from the frequency of asking to the frequency of issuing orders. How do you issue a kingdom order? It doesn't require shouting or striving. It requires absolute certainty. When a judge in a courtroom says, "Case dismissed," he doesn't shout it. He doesn't wonder if the lawyers will listen. He knows that his position is the power. As a chosen one, you are the judge in your own jurisdiction. When you look at a mountain of debt, you don't say, "God, please help me." You say, "In the name of the highest authority, I decree this mountain leveled. I command the resources of the north, south, east, and west to find me now. When you look at sickness, you don't hope to get better. You say, I enforce the blueprint of divine health over this body. Every cell, align. This is spiritual jurisprudence. You are not making something happen. You are enforcing what has already been decided in the heavenly council. The enemy's greatest trick was to make you feel guilty for your power. He told you that meekness means weakness. He told you that to be spiritual, you had to be passive. That is a lie designed to keep the lions in cages while the hyenas run the world. Jesus wasn't passive. He spoke to the wind and it stopped. He spoke to the dead and they rose. He spoke to the fig tree and it withered. That is dominion. God is telling you, I am looking for a people who will take the lead. I am looking for chosen ones who will stop explaining the darkness and start overruling it. Your empire of light will only manifest when your frequency of command becomes louder than your frequency of complaint. I need you to understand the gravity of your sound, because your rank is now recognized. Your words have weight. If you say, I'm cursed, the universe says, confirmed. If you say, I am the head and not the tail, the universe says, confirmed. You must become vibrationally disciplined. You can no longer afford the luxury of idle, negative talk. Your mouth is the control panel of your empire. Every decree you make is a spiritual brick being laid in your reality. Tonight, the Father is upgrading your vocal cords with the sound of the shofar. When you speak, the spiritual realm should feel a concussive blast of truth. You are no longer requesting space. You are occupying it. Why does the Matrix fear this frequency? Because the Matrix is built on vibrational manipulation. It uses fear, media, and social pressure to keep people in a low-frequency state of reaction. But a chosen one in the frequency of dominion is unmanipulatable. You don't react to the storm, you command the calm. You don't react to the economy, you broadcast your own prosperity. You have become an independent station. The Matrix cannot jam your signal because your signal is coming from the throne room. Chapter 5, you are now a sovereign entity on the earth. Tonight, I want you to feel the resonance in your chest. God is saying, I have given you the land. Now speak to the borders. I have given you the wealth. Now command the flow. I have given you the influence. Now decree the open doors. Your sound is the key that unlocks the physical manifestation. The Alchemy of Pain. Chapter 4 created the gold. Now the frequency of dominion is shaping it into your empire. You are no longer a survivor of the world's chaos. You are the legislator of it. But a kingdom is not just a sound. It is a structure. Now that you have the frequency to rule, you need the vessel to contain the harvest. You cannot put new wine into old wineskins. You need a system that can survive the coming global shifts. In the next part, we are going to dive into building the Ark. I am going to show you how to build a community, a business, and a legacy that is crisis-proof and future-proof. The king has spoken. Now the king must build. Are you ready to lay the first stone of your physical ark? The sound has been released, and the frequency is set. But a king without a kingdom is just a dreamer, and a general without a fortress is a target. Tonight, the great architect of the universe is handing you the blueprints. He is telling you it is time to stop wandering in the spirit and start building on the earth. Welcome to building the Ark. In the days of Noah, the flood wasn't a surprise to the one who was building. While the rest of the world was eating and drinking within a crumbling system, Noah was focused on infrastructure. God is telling you tonight, the global systems you see are not designed to carry your glory. They are designed to sink. I am calling you to build a crisis-proof empire that will float when the old world fails. So, your Ark is your sovereign infrastructure. It is the business that doesn't rely on the matrix economy. It is the community of like-minded chosen ones who protect each other's backs. It is the legacy system you build so that your wealth and your wisdom are protected from the thieves we identified in Chapter 7. Building an Ark requires you to move from consumption to construction. Most people spend their energy using what the world provides. A chosen one spends their energy creating what the world lacks. The Father is saying, I have given you the Alchemy Chapter 4 and the Authority Chapter 7. Now use them to lay the physical foundation. The first pillar of your Ark is financial sovereignty. You cannot be fully free if you are tethered to a system that hates your light. Building your Ark means creating multiple streams of kingdom income. It means diversifying your assets into things that carry intrinsic value wisdom, land, skills, and strategic relationships. The Ark is not built in a day. It is built pitch by pitch, plank by plank. Every time you invest in your own education instead of mindless entertainment, you are laying a plank. Every time you save for your vision instead of spending for your ego, you are sealing a leak. God is giving you the intelligence of Joseph to store up during the years of plenty so that you will be the provider during the years of famine. Your Ark is the bank of heaven on earth. The second pillar of your Ark is covenant community. Noah didn't go into the Ark alone. He took his household and the pairs assigned to him. As a chosen one, you are being called to find your tribal alignment. Stop trying to build alone. The lone wolf era was for your training. Chapter 3, but the Empire era is for your alliance. You need to identify the other ranked operatives who have the skills you lack. You need the builders, the watchmen, and the administrators of the kingdom. Together, you create a closed-loop ecosystem where your resources stay within the circle of light. This is how you become anti-fragile. When the world's idols fall. Chapter 1. Your community stays standing because your foundation is not social approval, but covenant commitment. The third pillar of your Ark is digital and physical presence. In 2026, the airwaves are the new territory. Building your Ark involves claiming your space in the digital realm to broadcast the truth. Whether it is through a business, a channel, or a movement, you are creating a beacon of light for other chosen ones to find. But you must also ground it in the physical. Own your land. Secure your home. Create a sacred space where the frequency of the matrix is not allowed to enter. Your home should be a diplomatic outpost of heaven, When people step onto your property or into your business, they should feel a shift in the atmosphere. They should feel the gravity of the Spirit. You are building a micro-kingdom that will eventually expand to cover the earth. Why is the Ark so urgent right now? Because the flood of deception is rising. The world is becoming increasingly vibrationally toxic. If you don't have a structure to protect your frequency, you will be constantly fighting to stay afloat. The Ark provides you with automated protection. Once the Ark is built and the door is shut by the hand of God, the water that drowns the world is the same water that lifts you higher. The crisis becomes your catalyst. The chaos becomes your fuel. But you must be willing to do the hard labor of construction while others are still partying in the dark. The Ark is your proof that you believe God's word more than the world's weather report. Tonight, the Father is handing you the hammer and the nails. He is saying, I have given you the why. Now I am giving you the how. Look at the empty room I gave you that was the space for your shipyard. Look at the pain I allowed that was the timber for your hull. Everything you've been through has prepared you to be a master builder. Do not be afraid of the scale of the vision. The one who gave you the blueprint will also provide the cedar of Lebanon. You are building a legacy that will survive the fire and the flood. You are building the empire of light. But as the Ark nears completion, the shadow will make one final, desperate attempt to stop you. The enemy knows that once the Ark is finished, his reign of terror over your life is over forever. He is preparing his final boss move. In the next part, we are going to dive into the final confrontation with the shadow. I am going to show you how to face the ultimate fear. The fear of your own success and the fear of being truly seen. We are going to dismantle the final boss before you take the throne. Are you ready to face the shadow one last time? The Ark is almost built. The frequency is ringing. The council is watching. But as you reach for the handle of the throne, a cold wind blows through the chamber of your heart. Suddenly, every doubt you thought you had conquered, every insecurity you thought you had buried, and every ghost of your past failures rises up for one last desperate stand. Welcome to the final confrontation with the shadow. God is telling you tonight, the enemy is no longer out there. He is playing his final card inside your own mind. This is the threshold of greatness. Before you can rule the empire of light, you must dismantle the final boss. The version of you that is still afraid of being seen. The version of you that feels like a fraud for being so blessed. The shadow isn't trying to kill you anymore. It is trying to shame you into staying small. Why is this confrontation happening now? Because the Matrix knows that a chosen one who has conquered their own fear of success is completely unstoppable. Most people are afraid of failure. But you've already survived failure. You're an expert at the bottom. Your real fear, the one the shadow is using right now, is the fear of the light. It's the fear that if you truly become the king, if you truly build the empire, you will lose the comfort of being the misunderstood outcast. The shadow whispers, "Who do you think you are? What will they say when you become wealthy? They'll call you arrogant. They'll wait for you to fall." Tonight, the Father is handing you a sword of truth, and he is saying, kill the coward you used to be, so the sovereign you are can finally breathe. The shadow uses the weapon of imposter syndrome. It tries to make you feel like you're rank. Chapter 1 was a mistake. It tells you that the downloads from the council, Chapter 5, were just your imagination. But listen to the voice of the Spirit. I do not make mistakes in my selection. The shadow is just a spiritual echo of the people who tried to shrink you in your childhood. It is the voice of the thieves, Chapter 7, playing on a loop in your subconscious. To defeat this boss, you don't fight it. You expose it. You look the shadow in the eye, and you say, I am not who I was. I am who God says I am. I don't need permission to be brilliant. I don't need an apology to be powerful. When you stop negotiating with your insecurities, the shadow has no floor to stand on. It dissolves in the heat of your certainty. This final battle is also about the fear of judgment as you build your ark. Chapter 8. You are becoming visible, and visibility attracts arrows. The shadow tells you to stay hidden, to stay safe. But God is telling you, I didn't give you a light to put it under a bushel. I gave you a light to be a beacon. You must reach a state of holy indifference to the opinions of the matrix. What they think of you is none of your business. Your business is the mandate. The final confrontation is won when you realize that the judgment of men is a paper tiger compared to the approval of heaven. Once you stop caring if they like the ark, you become free to build it with divine perfection. There is a specific shadow of guilt that attacks chosen ones regarding wealth and power. You were programmed to believe that suffering is holy. The shadow tells you that if you have the empire, you are losing your soul. But the alchemy of pain, Chapter 4 taught us that your wealth is transmuted trauma. It is the interest God is paying on your suffering. To reject the empire is to reject the justice of God. Tonight, you must break the vow of poverty that the shadow is trying to enforce. You must accept the weight of the gold without the weight of the guilt. Your prosperity is the evidence of God's faithfulness. When you win, the kingdom wins. I need you to visualize this final boss as a glass wall. It looks solid. It looks intimidating. It reflects your own fears back at you, but it has no substance. The moment you decide to walk through it, it shatters. The final confrontation is not a 12-round boxing match. It is a decisive step. It is the moment you stop trying to be the chosen one and you simply are. The shadow dies in the presence of the I am. Can you feel the old you falling away? That skin was too tight. It was made of apologies and excuses. Let it drop. The chamber is now quiet. The shadow is gone. The final boss has been dismantled. You are standing in the center of your empire of light, and for the first time in your life, you are fully integrated. The pain, the power, the silence, and the sound. They have all merged into a single, unbreakable frequency of peace. You are ready. There is only one thing left to do. The official coronation. In the final part, we are going to dive into the ascension of the Uncrowned Kings. I will show you how to take your seat, how to issue your first global decree, and how to live every day as a living legend of the kingdom. The war is over. The reign begins. Are you ready to wear the crown? The shadow has dissolved. The ark is steady. The council has risen to their feet. And now, in the sacred silence of this final hour, the Creator is stepping forward to perform the act the universe has been waiting for since the beginning of time. You have been faithful in the dark, he says. Now, be formidable in the light. Welcome to the ascension of the Uncrowned Kings. Tonight, God is telling you, the world may not see the gold on your brow, but the spirit realm sees the radiance of your rank. You are an uncrowned king, a ruler whose authority does not come from a ballot box, a bank board, or a social media following. Your authority comes from the alchemical union of your suffering and my spirit. You have ascended to a level where you no longer look for a seat at the table. You are the table. The era of the chosen one as a victim is officially dead. The era of the chosen one as a sovereign is now live. What does it mean to be an uncrowned king? It means you carry the frequency of the throne into every ordinary moment. When you walk into a grocery store, you walk as a king. When you speak to your children, you speak as a queen. When you manage your business, you manage it as a province of heaven. You no longer need the external symbols of power to know who you are. The Matrix is obsessed with the crown, the jewelry, the titles, the applause. But you are obsessed with the core. You have realized that true power is the ability to stay in shalom, perfect peace, while the world is in chaos. Your ascension is the movement from reaction to creation. You are now an architect of the new earth. Tonight, the Father is granting you your first global decree. As a king, you have been given a jurisdiction of light. You are now responsible for the frequency of your household and your sphere of influence. God is saying, I am giving you the power to legislate the atmosphere. If there is strife in your family, you don't argue, you decree peace. If there is lack in your community, you don't complain, you command opportunity. You are a walking portal. Wherever you go, the rules of the kingdom go with you. The uncrowned king is the one who brings the order of heaven into the disorder of the earth. This is your ministry of presence. You don't need to preach. Your existence is the sermon. I need you to understand the legacy of the ascended. You are the first in your bloodline to reach this altitude. You are the pioneer species of a new humanity. Because you have ascended, the ceiling for the next generation has become their floor. Your children and those you mentor will never have to fight the final boss. Chapter 9. As hard as you did, because you have already cleared the path. You are a spiritual stabilizer for the planet. In the coming years of global transition, people will be drawn to you like moths to a flame. They won't know why, but they will feel safe in your shadow. They are sensing the king's protection. Your empire is not built of stone and mortar. It is built of trust and truth. The ascension requires you to walk with a new stride. Stop looking down. Stop hunching your shoulders as if you are still carrying the weight of the world. The weight has been converted into wings. The King of Kings is whispering, I have shared my glory with you. Now, wear it well. This is not pride. It is position. When you walk with dignity, you honor the one who chose you. When you live in abundance, you prove the generosity of the one who called you. Your life is now a living billboard for the kingdom. The Uncrowned King doesn't demand respect. His frequency commands it. As we close this 90-minute immersion, I want you to look at your hands. They are the hands of a builder. Look at your heart. It is the heart of a lion. Look at your future. It is a horizon of limitless manifestation. The war is over. The training is finished. The Ark is launched. The empire is founded. You are the chosen one, the ranked operative, the alchemist, the gatekeeper, and the king. The dawn has finally broken. And you, my friend, are the rising sun. You have traveled through 10 chapters of deep spiritual transformation. You have seen the fall of idols, decoded your soul's contract, mastered the art of camouflage, and transmuted your greatest pains into pure gold. You have connected to the council, broken generational handcuffs, found your dominion frequency, built your ark, and defeated the shadow. Banda Lamduk, you have finished the great work. The person you were at the beginning of this video is officially a memory. You have been recoded. You have been upgraded. You have been inaugurated. This is the end of the script, but it is the genesis of your true life. God is not just with you. He is reigning through you. Every step you take from this moment on is a kingdom step. Every breath you take is a decree of life. You are the empire of light. Chet A. Call to action. If you have stayed through all 10 chapters and you can feel the weight of the Uncrowned King upon your soul, we must seal this coronation. If you accept your seat and your mission, comment, "I am the Empire," below. This is your final signature on the contract of your destiny. If you feel there is still a shadow you need to work through, or if you want us to dive deeper into a specific chapter like Building the Ark or The Alchemy of Pain, comment with 0 or your specific question. We are building this empire together, and your voice is the sound of our collective victory. And finally, subscribe to this channel. By subscribing, you are officially registering your rank in the global community of chosen ones. You are signaling to the universe that you are ready for the next level of real-time intelligence. The coronation is over. The reign begins now. God bless the king. God bless the queen. God bless the chosen one.